We are live now officially. Go
Uh,
try.
these days don't ever
What's
end, man. It's like
man?
just go.
What you telling? I had to return the I had to return the favor today. I had to take TJ to the doc. Nothing serious,
Yeah,
but
everything good.
yeah, everything good.
Good,
Um,
good. So
but,
I guess they named. I guess we can get into this now, right? I mean, I was
oh,
about to say
what?
something about them naming Trevor, but we're kind of doing a live show, so I guess that can be part of the content.
Oh, yeah, they already named him. So
Yeah. I mean, we ready to go, or
yeah, let's go. I'm just sharing it. So you lead. You started off, so I could go ahead and put this where it needs
oh,
to
okay.
be at.
All right, I got you. I got you. The Wednesday night edition of the Sports Den brought to you by ABC Fine Wine and Spirits and thehumidor.com. Make sure you get to thehumidor.com for any cigar that you need. Type in Sports Den, all lowercase, all one word. That code still works. Sports Den, lowercase, all one word, and you will get 20% off of your order. And we're pretty sure if you spend enough, you'll get free shipping too. Just if you go to checkout and it's not free shipping, go back and buy more until the free shipping works. That would be my suggestion. And then if you like get to $200 or $300 and it's still not free shipping, then you know what? That's just you're doing it for the cause anyway. Um,
Right. Do it for the love.
right. You're doing it for the support. Make sure all of you that are listening, listen. We need not just the share, but the like. And then I don't want to spend like the whole every time we do this. I don't want to spend it like begging, but tell your friends. Like we talked about this a couple Mondays ago, and we were talking about the transition that we're making about this being kind of grassroots. Um, Grassroots means like all of us in this together. Tell your friends. Let's pump these numbers up. We got some dope stuff coming. James has already started some stuff with Seminole Nation, with Knoll Nation, and then we met earlier. We've got some equipment we're waiting on, but probably 90% of it's in. And so we're about to fire this thing up to a whole other level. So we need all of you guys' support to do it because we're not doing it just to do it ourselves, although it is going to be fun and we probably would do it ourselves anyway. Um, but a lot to get into. Obviously, preseason coming to an end. Thank God. I hate preseason. Every year I trick myself with that Hall of Fame game, and I tell myself, all right, you know what? I'm gonna watch some of these young cats that maybe I watched in college and kind of see what they're up to. I don't. I don't. Like, I didn't even want to watch. James, you can back me up on this. I did not want to watch the second half of the Jag game. Like, we were talking
Nah,
about
you were
doing
trying to
it.
like you're like let's do the show now.
Let's just do it at halftime. Like, I mean, I'm so over the preseason and I'm so over, well, I'll just say it. I'm so over, like, what all of you are saying about the preseason and what everybody's saying about the preseason. Like, none of this stuff matters. Like, none of it. It is, like I said the other night, there is zero correlation between the preseason and how you perform in the regular season. So y'all stop stressing about it. The Jags may suck because that's what the Jags do. They suck. But it's not going to be because they weren't any good in the preseason. It's kind of my point. Like they haven't just not any good, maybe, and perhaps. But let's not put too much into the preseason. Obviously, I guess the big news today was the Jags officially naming Trevor the starter.
Troll Nation. But did you see the memes where they put Trevor can finally go use the bathroom?
No.
Go take a number two.
Oh.
But that's
Well, I mean, I want to get into Gardner in a minute, but when I heard that today, like I was thinking, okay, what changes? You know what I mean? Like by naming him the starter, what actually changes? And I guess a few more reps, but there's that week between this year between the last preseason game and the first regular season game. So I don't think really anything's going to change. I think for the most part, the last half of this week is going to be really prepping the guys who were going to play for the last preseason game. And then they were going to, even if they didn't name it, they were going to know who the starter was after that anyway. So I don't really think this changes anything at all. As far as rep count goes, maybe he gets an extra 20 reps this week, 30 reps, something like that. He's not going to be looked at any differently in the locker room. That's a myth right now, is that locker room already knew who the starter was. That locker room is all young and new, and they didn't, they're not dumb. So I don't really think that this changes just about anything inside the walls at TIAA Bank Field. Do you?
No, I thought like I put in no shit Sherlock News. Trevor
Yeah.
Lawrence is going to be the starter. I mean, if you would ask anybody, they would have probably told. Like we see the thrill of what Trevor Lawrence can do. What I appreciate and respect about Gardner is going out and giving it a valiant effort. But it didn't really matter what Gardner did outside of a miraculous, like these guys. Like he would have needed to do what Jameis did in the first two drops with who he had in order to truly like just take the job. You drafted him number one, and in the politics of the game, put him there. And again, that's just what happens when you draft that high. You don't you're not going to waste it. He's showing you enough to be able to go out there. All right, we're gonna live and die by this guy. Now, if things really like just go crazy and you see him losing it, then you're gonna put Gardner back in. But that's a whole nother situation where
I
we're
don't know if
really,
you do.
really we're struggling.
I don't know if you do. I think, and we can just go ahead and get to that now, James.
Okay.
Um, the topic now is who's the backup. Is it Gardner or is it CJ Beathard? Let's. I have worked with both of them. I would consider Gardner like part of our core group. CJ's not, right?
Right. CJ just got here anyway.
CJ comes in, he gets some work, he leaves. There, like the way we do this, there's like a core group of guys that they work, and we all work together. And then there's another group of guys that just kind of float in and out. CJ's kind of that group. So I'm not as close with CJ as I am with Gardner and Jake. Those are both core group guys. But if you just look at what the Jags did, look at the economics of it for a second. They have to pay Gardner $800,000 if they keep him. They have to pay CJ 2.7, I think, something like that. Mm-hmm. Whether they keep him or not, that's all guaranteed. Gardner didn't have he had a bad preseason from a game perspective. And I'm not even going to go into like why I feel like the reasons are. I think a lot of it was on him, but let's just say this isn't the best offense for Gardner. This isn't the best offense for anybody, really. CJ's had a good preseason, but he's been back there just kind of freestyling. I think there is an argument to be made about CJ over Gardner. I think that may happen. And let me tell you something. As somebody who is close, can you hear me? Oh, you had a weird look on your face. As somebody who is close with Gardner, I hope like hell that they decide like to cut Gardner. Do you know how fast he would be swiped up? And do you know, like, he would, no matter where he goes, he would be in a better situation. He wouldn't be behind a generational talent who's the number one overall pick, came to save a city. He'd probably be behind somebody, but not that. Like he wouldn't even get back to his house from the facility and finding out that he was cut before he's picked up. So I don't really think, I don't think that's much of a threat. And that's not coming from Gardner. That's coming from me. Like, I don't think it's much of a threat when they're talking about, when I haven't heard them say it, but when people are talking about, CJ may be the backup and they may cut Gardner. Okay, do it. Like, fine, cut him. I can tell you with certainty they love Gardner Minshew. The Jags do. They had chances to trade Gardner Minshew and they chose not to. So, if you want to just outright cut him, that's cool. He'll be in Philly or he'll be in Minneapolis or he'll be in Detroit or he'll be somewhere like that before you even know he was cut. That's how quickly he'll get picked up.
It's always good to have options. And again, it's like you said, it's about the fit, and we really don't know who fits into this system. It's just it's not a really good look
Well, right
at
now it
all.
looks like the system doesn't fit in the NFL, for being real. On the surface, that's what it looks like. When I see NFL teams start stacking formations like all the way to the sideline, bro, they've hit desperation mode in the preseason. Again, I don't put anything on it. Maybe they're just toying around. But we saw that the other night. It's like they couldn't get anything going. Next thing you know, they got receivers split all the way to the sideline, and they're stacked. And what that does, it just stretches the defense out. It makes the safeties defend more, and it makes them kind of tip their hand. But there's not a whole hell of a lot you can do out of that formation. I mean, in the NFL, that's big boy football. Like, those front seven are going to handle themselves. So I don't know, man. I mean, I don't think. I guess my point is, Trevor's a dude. Trevor's going to be a dude for the next 15 years in the NFL. The bigger question right now is this staff ready? Like, that's the bigger question that we all need to get answered.
Won't know until we won't even know week one. We'll have an idea. I think a lot of them are on a learning curve, and I
You,
think
you feel comfortable about week one right now?
not at all. But what I'm
Okay.
saying is, it's easy for me to throw you in the trash week one when everybody is new, and we got a head coach who's learning the NFL game as much as he's learning like how to judge NFL talent and NFL players. I mean, and he doesn't have the talent, so it's plus I know we're going to be here. This is a 3-year build. I say 3 years because we had a question, and I believe it was our guy John Kynes, and he put on when is Urban going to fake a heart attack? And I think it's 3 years. He's either going to have success in year three, or he's going to be Fred Sanford. And I'm coming home to you, Elizabeth, on the I think on the sideline. So, but
You
that's
know
no
what, though?
knocking. I guess his health is.
I think
Yeah,
Urban's too prideful for that.
you think
Like,
so?
when he did that at Ohio State and Florida, man, they were at the top. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
he knew
no,
what was
no, no, no. At Florida, they were on the downhill when he got out of there.
they had just won a natty, bro.
They had just won a natty, and that year they were like, it was no, that was '09 when he got out of there, right?
Something like that. My point being,
Yeah, so yeah, you're right. They were '08. Oh yeah, you're right. You're not wrong.
he's at the bottom right now, and his pride is gonna keep him here. You know, I would say at least 3 to 5 years, and I mean, I don't think it's gonna be. If there's anything Herbs is, it's a prideful guy. Just put it that way, and he should be. Like, I mean, dude is one of the best
He's
coaches to
been
ever walk the
successful
sideline.
everywhere he's gone. I mean, and
Yeah,
I'm with him. It's just hard for me to. It's just hard, and I'm not, not knocking him. And personally, I want him to be successful because I want the Jaguar fans to be, to have a winner because they deserve it. And again, like I tell people, it's kind of just like I tell FSU fans, like, what I 17 was the best year to be in sports media in Jacksonville.
oh,
Like
no doubt.
I loved every aspect about it. The money was flowing. I think we were sold out at that
Yeah,
point or close to it. Everybody was like, you didn't have to create content. Actually, it
it was
messed
fun.
up our 18 calendar. The beginning,
Mm-hmm.
like that first quarter, because that was the last year of early signing period. Or no, the first
First
winter
year.
signing period,
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
but
You're right. You're
but
right.
signing day in February was still big. Everybody completely forgot about National Signing Day. We forgot about all the other stuff, like just things kind of just piled up. So I think I want him to be successful, but at the same time, I'm not going to lie about what I see on the TV screen, and I think that's what makes us different, and I'm going to continue to do it. I'm not going to put. I'm not going to be critical or argumentative for the sake of being argumentative, but I'm also not going to. I'm not going to cower and bow down either. Like either way, it works for me because I get to pick on Urban Meyer if they're not any good, and if the Jags are winning, I get to talk about how good the Jaguars are, and that's cool too.
Well, we said this the other night. If you go out and you start 2-0, you start 3-1, you start whatever, nobody gives a crap about game 2 of the preseason. It's forgotten about. So I don't really think I don't think in the big scheme of things this should really affect anybody's enthusiasm. Like if you were thinking about buying season tickets, buy the season tickets. I mean, you're going to have there's enough playmakers on this team that at some point that's going to take over. DJ Chark hasn't taken a snap yet. Laviska Shenault is legit. I don't care what Pete Prisco said. Laviska Shenault is not slow. I mean,
Let's talk about the theme when you get done with that. I want to talk about just that
let's just
in your
do it
thoughts
now.
on.
Just
I
do it now. I'm feeling kind of
I
petty today.
I love how old, short, overweight, out of shape white men get to talk that probably have never made an athletic move in their life, and if they have, they pulled something. Get to talk about young, in shape, a rainbow coalition of players that that are there because they're faster than the normal human being. I just think speed is relative and fast, and it just gave me a chuckle because I actually didn't disagree with his whole tweet. I just
And
thought it
and
was
the
funny
and the
that
tweet was
he's
talking about the
calling them.
overall. The tweet
Yeah,
was talking about the overall speed of the team, is what it was
right.
talking about. Yeah.
And I just think that how do we measure speed? Every year they have this thing called the combine, and every year they tell me that the 40-yard dash is the epitome of speed and the holy grail of it. Even though we know it's kind of BS, and the 20 and the 10-yard split are a little bit more important. But all the people who he's talking about have pretty fast 20 and 10-yard splits as well. How do you know James Robinson is slow? The line, the defensive line was in the backfield when he was getting the ball. Every back looks the same besides Barry Sanders with a terrible offensive line that can't get any push. I'm suggesting that maybe the route concepts are the reason why we think these guys are slow. They're getting easily defended. Nobody's getting open, but we know that Marvin Jones can run. We know that DJ Chark can run. We've seen what Laviska can do and what defensive coordinators and people have said about Laviska. So why are the people who get paid to scout or defend against the Jags believing something that a reporter isn't? And that's just my only critique of what Pete was saying, and just the fact that I think it's funny that Pete Prisco is calling anybody slow.
And I like Pete. I think Pete does an amazing job. There's
Yeah,
people around here that I don't think does a good job. Pete's not one of those. Pete's made a living off this. But the one thing that Pete, failed to kind of tweet out is if you've got a bunch of guys who are pretty fast guys and they don't look fast, that's not on them. You're asking them to do
right.
things that slows them down. So I don't, it's like just calm down before you fire off tweets. Just calm down and give it a couple of weeks and remember on some level. And I'm not taking up for these guys, but remember on some level, not on some level, on every level. One, these are young guys with a whole new coaching staff, with a new quarterback. Both sides of the ball implementing brand new, not just schemes but language. Like, I mean, we're talking about the second week of the preseason, and we're tweeting tweeting crap like these guys are slow. Like, man, come on. Like, I mean, you say this all the time. We say it all the time. It's that same energy thing. When they're when they're flying around in 2 years, are you going to say that they magically just got fast? Like, just call it what it is. They don't know what the hell they're doing right now. That's okay to
Which
say that. I
which
think
makes
Pete
you
would say
slow.
the same thing.
A thinking football player is a slow football player.
No doubt.
So when you put slow, it describes it's like a physical attribute. It means like, okay, Dan, that's something that we can't fix. When you're thinking, okay, I think I have an option route here. I'm not 100% sure. Oh, he's playing cover four. It looks like man. Okay, I run the man route. Oh crap, he's in zone. I should have done something different. That's gonna make you slow it down a little bit.
Can I give you a real life example here of this?
Yeah.
Um, one of the big differences in the NFL game and the college game is in the college game, a lot of times as a receiver, you're pushing into a DB and you're creating leverage or separation. And the quarterback's kind of waiting for that, right? In the NFL, you don't chase leverage. You're at a spot. And when you're at that spot, the quarterback's throwing the ball at that spot. Now, I say that, and I don't even know if I'm supposed to say this or not, but I'm going to. I know for a fact, because I've heard it, I have heard the receiver coach for the Jags, who lives in the $10 million house that none of us know how he does it, or how he got the money, which is a shame. Shame on you, Jacksonville media, for not knowing this. This is the biggest thing. The dude's got the nicest house in the city, and he's a receiver coach. How the hell do we not know where the money came from? Anyway, I was standing right there when he was yelling at a young receiver, stop chasing effing leverage. You run your route at 12, you turn around and the ball's going to be there at 12. If you haven't got the leverage, then we don't chase leverage in the NFL. That is a perfect example of things that slow guys down, right? And so you'll learn that. And the game's so big in timing, and I keep saying this, it's the reason why you watch Cleveland and you watch New Orleans and you watch some of these other preseason games and everything looks so simple and bam, 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 right down the field. And we're not doing that here. It's not just the O-line. It's not just Trevor. It's things like receivers learning that you don't chase leverage in the NFL. That you get to your spot, you turn around, and the ball's going to be there or it's not. Like it's spot football, and that's what the NFL is. So when you start calling people slow, and then you just take a step back and you realize, man, these guys are learning literally a whole new game right now. You've just got to take a deep breath and you've got to go. 2 weeks is a long time. 2 weeks can look a lot different than right now. You're talking about 30% more practices than what they've had at this point. We can be patient, man. We've sucked long enough. What's another couple weeks?
And I also think that they're gonna stop doing all these, leadership rep type things and like competition and win breakfast. And even though I believe you should try to win and compete to win everything, but maybe a little bit more. If it's taken away from actually learning the routes and learning what you're supposed to do, then it's wasted energy. So they got to get out here and just make things happen. That's
Hey,
my
a funny piece of Florida State news I thought about you today when I saw. Do you remember when we were out at the UNF practice
right.
and I pointed out to you a certain person, a Florida State player, and I was like, "Yo, James, that dude's terrible. Like
Hmm.
that dude is awful." Did you see who hit the portal today?
Yeah, and
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, yeah. And there's a lot of speculation about why he hit the portal, and that's a topic that we need to dive into. And I started to dive into it with Freddie on Inside Drills earlier today, but we had we had Chris Gronkowski, Rob Gronkowski's younger brother. It's just a fun family to look like. They should do a series about that family, growing
oh,
up
they will.
Gronk or something like
Yeah,
that.
they will. They
Just
will.
the, so so I'm gonna get Miles to take it off, but he literally tells a story about Rob just cracking him behind the back with a hockey stick, and then him going and chasing him and pushing him and his head hits the back of the tub and he gets knocked out, and then like he wakes him up and he's like, "Whew, okay, he's gonna be good." I mean, he's not gonna come back. He was just out. So he comes back in his room, cracks him over the head with a hockey stick again. So it's just that story alone. If they don't do a cartoon or something like that, I'm telling you, Gronkowski's. I'm going to commission somebody to do it, and we'll
Oh,
pay.
I've
We'll
heard.
square
Yo,
up.
I should have told you this. I've heard stories about them being at college and taking literally every penny they have to buy a hot tub. and going
Oh
without
wow.
food because they wanted a hot tub. But no, it's a crazy
Yeah,
family. But to get back on, what is his
but
name? Josh? Is
yeah,
it Josh?
Josh Griffith. So right now, Florida State is under the threshold that the ACC wants you to be in for vaccinations. So 85%. It's pretty much across the board. I believe the SEC is 85% too, but everybody's basically at 85%. So Mike, from what the assumption is Mike is cranking it up on people. There's a young man at Rutgers. More power to him. Decided to stand his ground. I appreciate you exercising your freedoms. I also appreciate the school exercising their freedom of choice as well. A lot of people think freedom goes one way, and this is a choice. It's not a luxury. It's not what's the word? You're not entitled to play college football. You're not entitled to work for that employer.
Mm-hmm.
They have freedom too. So what happened is, from what the assumption is, again, we'll put this as an assumption because other than that, he did what was best for him. I have no beef with him, but they said he got to get poked if he gonna play, and he said he wasn't getting poked, and his family is adamant about it, and he made the decision to stand his own ground, not get poked, hit the transfer portal. God bless, but he was getting moved out anyway. And then there's a
He
young
was.
man that I got to see against. I got to see him against because I coach at Mandarin. I got to see him with Fletcher. I think he's going to play that same position. He's about 6 foot. Hester is his last name, and he's a freak. He's a freaking terror coming off the edge. Griffiths left some things to be desired. I can't go as hard as what you're going.
No,
You're
okay.
going right now.
I'm gonna say this. I've seen him one time. One time. That's it. I don't know what he was in high school. I have no idea. You can tell a lot about a football player when they get into their stance. And when I saw
True.
that man get into his stance, I didn't need to see anything else. Everything else, though, confirmed what I thought the minute the dude got in his stance.
He was an
FSU,
interesting.
it's
He was
not a
an.
loss. It's not a loss, guys.
Oh, I don't think anybody's crying. He was an interesting recruit.
He was.
He committed under tag. I have a friend who coaches high school in Georgia now, who I believe coached against him because he's from from the Jacksonville area. He went to IMG his senior year, but he went to like 4 schools. That's a lot of schools to go
And
to in high school.
he
And
committed, decommitted like 3 times, right?
right, but he committed to Florida first.
Okay.
And then he committed to Florida State. He got into it with the I think he's a D tackle now, but he was a DN, but one of your 4-star guys. And then he committed to Tennessee, I believe, for a second, or was looking at Tennessee. Then he came back around to Florida State. So typically, when you have guys like that, they don't stick anyway. So all
I mean, I wish him
power
the
to him.
best.
Much
Yeah.
success. As long as your interests don't intercede with my interest. But here's and I want your opinion on it. And again, we've both had it. I just tell people my perspective. And I even talked to Coach Norvell. I said if he would like me to come and share, I was like, Coach, I'll come and share my story, not to spook people into doing it, but just to let them know, hey, if what happened to me happens to you, your career might be done. Because at least at this school, you can't lose 40 pounds and your lungs and play that season. It's just impossible.
I have
But
a quarterback. I have a quarterback who got it last September, caught COVID last September. Still not cleared to play. Still not clear.
okay.
Like he's a Division I quarterback. I'm not gonna say his name, but he's going on a year and has not been cleared to play football again.
Right. And that's tough. But like
Yeah.
but so what I was saying, so like right now, so as you said, Mackenzie Milton, if he doesn't really want to take it, all right, not really gonna push you to take it because we might need you, right? Jordan Travis, love for you to take it. Not, and I'm not suggesting those guys have or haven't. I don't know.
Right.
But when you're that third or fourth string guy, and they don't really know if they're gonna use you or not, and then there's a kid coming in that they're probably trying to recruit and replace you with, you're on the bubble, dude. So like it's like even in the NFL, like you can't really afford to not if you love football. And if you go into that transfer portal, which is already deep, in
Yeah.
every like here's the reality. Almost every public school, which is the majority of the NCAA, is faced with the same things. They're trying to like they're in a conference that's really putting the pressure on them. And this cancellation thing, I believe this is going to get some coaches fired if they lose the TV money, a portion of that. So I think the coaches are going to be in a like I could like again. I always tell people what Billy Sexton used to tell me all the time, or tell I said, I like you, but I love my wife, and my wife is accustomed to this lifestyle of six figures that I'm providing for her by having y'all come out there and risk your lives. So I need to make sure I got guys on the same page. So do you think that's gonna like? Do you think that's really gonna pressure a lot of people to either like to see how much they actually love this sport and do
Well,
it,
I think
or are you
you
gonna
know
see
what
a
I
lot
think.
of coaches push back?
You know what I think it is. I think it's kind of a variation of the turd to talent index. Like I think it's a little bit of like if you're super, super, super talented. Oh, and my lights went off. These things are in motion. Hold on.
Then he didn't pay his bill. This is why we need sponsors.
Right. If you're if you're super talented and you decide, you know what, I'm gonna roll with it, then nobody's gonna say anything. To your point, if you want to, and I'm gonna say a turd about it because that's what it is. It's not. I'm not telling you to go get it or not. I'm telling you at this level they want these guys getting it, and if they're not getting it, they're defying the wishes of coaches, commissioners, presidents, conference. Man, it's a mess. I got people calling me, messing me up. So you
No, you
better
good. Yeah.
have some type of like that turd to talent index better be on the right side. Is my point. You know, we talk about it
Right.
with Antonio Brown. We talk about it with guys like that. I think all that's doing is just pushing it sooner. Is all this is doing. If you're going to be difficult about this, you better be a really good player. And Josh Griffiths may be a good player down the road. And he's, you know what, he's not going to have any problem in the portal because he was a 4-star kid. And there's a coach somewhere that needs a defensive end, and so he's going to get another shot. He's at a position that's a premium that everybody has that they need more of, so he's going to get another shot. But to your point, like if you're a third string guy, I mean, you and your family don't like it, like y'all need to have a conversation.
I always
Yep.
tell people. Well, I used to tell my mom, and luckily my mom, again, my mom didn't do message boards and things like that. And I joke with people about what my grandmother told me about message boards all the time. You you really like your family. You got one family members in college for subpar athletes that haven't made a name for themselves yet. I say subpar because you could be sub. The jump from my sophomore to my junior year was exponential. So I just, so I'm saying like you could be subpar 1 year, or in my freshman year to sophomore year was exponential. So you could be subpar 1 year and then be great, just how
It's
things
called
work.
development.
Yeah, but like don't be the reason why you make it tougher on your kid.
Yeah.
Have your freedom of speech and your thing, but it can have consequences on this person who's the celebrity. We see it happen all the time with celebrities. But when you look at what some of these parents are saying, what they're doing, and you see the decisions that the kids are making, I just want to make sure that, hey, be informed, do what you got to do. But like, think about it like this: Alabama has one player not vaccinated. One, they're in the state that would make you believe that none of that nobody will be pushing it. But Nick Saban has the discipline, and the guys bought in to where they got to do this. Imagine what happens if they have a quarantine and it's that one player, and like that one. But to be honest, Nick probably got that one player not even practicing with the team. But and again, I just don't. Again, it's whatever you want to do, but just understand that you have a freedom, they have a freedom. Coaches' freedom is tied to what's better for the whole. And I think that's one of the things that people got to look at. Yeah, you may have your freedom, but some people, your freedom affects others. Like civics used to teach in my class, your rights end where mine begin. So you have your right, you're free. Like right now in this room, I'm free to do whatever I want. There's nobody I affect. But once I get out of this room, there are other people's freedoms that bump into mine. So my decisions affect those guys, and some people have to do what's best for the whole. And you're not going to like the decision for what's best for the whole sometimes.
Well, I think that's a good segue too to what we're seeing. Like LSU announcing that you have to either be vaccinated or have a negative test within 72 hours to go to a game. And then on the heels of that, Georgia announces you don't need either. We're full capacity. We're 92,000 strong. Come on. Florida announces the same thing today. I want people to understand, like, that's at a state level,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's
People
not,
were people were crushing Strickland and Fox or Fox,
yeah,
whatever your president's name.
yeah.
But yeah, what you say it's a state level thing.
It's a state level thing. And so if the state says you can't do this or you're going to lose state funding or something like that, then guess what? They're not going to do it. And if you're not going to do it, then have a full stadium. Like, I mean, it is what it is. So I would imagine that, shortly we'll hear similar things from, the other Florida schools. I don't know what, I guess, I don't know what Miami, I don't, I mean, they listen, they social distance every year in Miami, so it's not a big deal.
Right.
We probably need to be more concerned about UCF. All right, like the bounce
Right.
house is lit. All right, so I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if Florida State's going to do. I would imagine it's going to be the same thing Florida's
Nah,
going to
it's
do.
like before they dropped that, one of my connects, I have a source who works in higher education for the public school system, basically the university system. And the first thing he sent me was like, "Yo, it don't matter." It's why Florida had to roll back. Like they were saying, we're gonna go virtual for 2 weeks because of the spike in COVID cases, and they had to roll that back because the governor doubled down. He said we will not shut schools down. He can make a threat to school districts, but we have houses. We pay taxes. We pay local taxes. That's what primarily fronts a lot of the money for those schools, those school districts. And you really, really don't want to be the guy that's already stressing the system that's already underfunded. But where he can go is where he directly funds is the state school system. So like your Florida, Florida State, South Florida, Central Florida, West Florida, UNF, F, FAU or FIU. One of them.
Both.
One of them is
I think both of
both
them,
are
right?
private. Both are public. That's right. So I mean, those are the ones that if you're a president, like you may be feeling for the safety of your guys, but at the same time, if he takes, you already took a hit last year, but if he takes 5 million from you or whatever, I don't know what the state thing, but if he takes that from you, that's a huge hit, and
Right.
that's going to take away teachers. That's going to take away something from somebody. So
Well, I mean,
they have to comply.
I don't want to get into the politics of it, but if we get into the history of these spikes since the beginning, I hope that the history holds true, and if it does, we should be on the downturn. Like all these things spike and spike and spike, and you know what I mean. Like I hope that's the case. I hope that in October we feel like we did in July, or June, where it's like, okay, we got past that wave of stuff. I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that that's the situation. You're seeing high school games canceled all over the place right now. So I'm hoping that we're on the tail end of this thing and that we get some relief, for a little bit. But who knows? I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing. If any of us have learned anything, it's that none of us know what the hell we're talking about when it comes to this stuff. Like it
Right.
affects
It's a
everybody
it's a fluid
differently.
situation.
Right, right. So do what you want to do. Do what you're going to do. I mean, I had it. I'm vaccinated. I'm fully vaccinated. My whole family's fully vaccinated. So we've made our decision. You can do whatever you want to do. I don't judge you for it. You know, rock out. Do whatever you want to do. Can we move to UF for a second?
Can we move to what?
Florida, UF.
Yeah, yeah. Let's go. We haven't talked about Gators in a minute.
So the hot topic right now is the quarterback position at Florida. And I'm trying to think of the right way to phrase this. The hot streak, we'll call it, that Anthony Richardson is on. And I'll be honest, like Gator Bites today with Hacker was probably the best Gator Bites we've ever done because I came in fired up, bro. Like, I was fired up at Florida fans. I was fired up at Hacker. I was fired up at reporters. And I want people to understand this. Emory Jones did not self-appoint himself as a a first-round overall pick. Y'all did that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just like y'all did with Jamie Newman. Okay,
just like they did with Trask.
What they said Trask was trash.
Yeah, but then it changed this time. Yeah. Every year, this time, they have a Heisman Trophy candidate. Felipe Franks was a Heisman Trophy candidate.
You're right, but we could go school to school. Like, I mean, if we're being fair, we could go all over the place. Jake from CBS told us was the #1 overall pick, to which I laughed at him. My point being this: you've met Anthony Richardson.
Yes.
Anthony Richardson's talent has nothing to do with Emory Jones. Okay, let me say that again. Anthony Richardson's talent has nothing to do with Emory Jones. Emory Jones can be good, and Anthony can be good, and that can happen. Like that's the way this works. So when you guys start to report stupid crap, like, oh, Emory must be having a bad camp because all we're hearing is about Anthony, you're telling us more about you than you are about them. Okay? You're the
two things can be true at the same time.
You people are the problem with America today on every level. And it doesn't have to be one against the other. It's freaking called development. Anthony Richardson is a dude. And I've said it. James has said it. We've been saying it for the past 3 years. This dude, when the light comes on, he's a problem. He's going to be a problem. He's the kind of guy that can put a team on his back and he can carry them as far as he wants to go. He's 6'5", 225 pounds. There is no fat on this kid. He's massive. He's a sub 4.5 40 guy. I witnessed him laser a 4.49. I witnessed him have the best arm at the Elite 11. He is all of those things. In college, you have spring football. Florida elected to have it super early this year. They were done like March. That March till now is a long time for a 20-year-old, bro. We all went to school and we left school with that chick who wasn't anything to look at in May, and we came back in September, she was a whole different girl. At that age, that stuff happens. So when Anthony Richardson left in March, and then he went through the weight program and he continued to develop because the coaches can't really be around him. That's strength staff, and that's on your own. He came back, and he's who we thought he would be. That doesn't mean he's going to be the starter, but it does mean he's going to push. And for people to start saying things like, well, Emory's waited his turn, and so he should automatically go into that, and that's how this thing works. No, it's not how it works. The best person plays. Period. End of story. The person that's going to win you football games. When you line up week 3 and you're game planning for Alabama, James, and you go, what can we do with Emory? And the list is yay long. And you go, what can we do with Anthony? And that list is twice as long. You play Anthony. Period. End of story. I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but from what I know, from what's happening down there, it's not that Emory Jones is crap in the bed. It's that Anthony Richardson has developed and he has become a dude. And everybody around there is seeing it. So both things can be true. Both of them can be good. Right? Like, y'all just stop showing your ignorance with this stuff as you're reporting on it. James tells the story all the time about the first time he met Anthony. This ain't your normal dude. Has never been your normal dude. Will never be your normal dude. If this dude gets it together, Florida State fans, I got bad news for you. You ain't.
Yeah, I'm not happy about that. You got to give if he hits the open field, you got a faster version of what Tebow had. If
Right.
he hits, though, you got to get him. You got to get to him before he gets to running.
And he throws the piss out of it. And by the way,
Mm-hmm.
extremely intelligent. But, the thing we talked about earlier about, playing the game slow, he's been doing that the first year there. Things have clicked. And I don't know. I mean, I talked to him. We text back and forth. He's excited about the way he's performing. I don't know what they're going to do. But I'll say this. I don't really worry about the quarterback position. And when you go position by position at Florida right now, Mullen, if you don't win 10, that's not good. You should absolutely win the games at all the games with the exception of Alabama, LSU, and Georgia. That should be a given. One out of those three puts you at 10. Okay? Two out of those three, now we're cooking. And it's about time that you take that next jump and get to two out of those three. And, I don't see – I see the talent gap at the second level, like second team. But overall, I don't think there's a massive talent gap between now and what we had last year and the year before in Gainesville. I don't see it. I mean, you could make the argument maybe at safety, maybe, but their linebackers have taken a ton of snaps. There's 3 first or second round guys on that front line in Gainesville on the defensive line. You're stacked 4 deep at running back. You have plenty of receivers. Like, your offensive line is taking a lot of snaps. There are no excuses in Gainesville this year. You win 10 or it's a failure, period.
Wow. Well, there it is.
I mean, am I wrong? You got
No.
connections down there. I mean, are they saying something different?
No, I mean the biggest. I mean, I only hear when it's a bad thing, but like they're not really. They. I know Mullen. Their biggest thing was that Mullen said that he believes that this is a 10-win, possibly SEC title type team, and I know some of the coaches were a little hesitant
Well, I
when he
don't think you
said that.
control that. Like, I don't think that's the other thing where Florida's at. I don't think that's up to you. I think whether or not you're an SEC championship caliber team is largely determined by Georgia and Alabama and how good they are.
Right, right. But I think they think that Mullen believes that this is they're on par with Georgia. Like not championship, like get to the championship
Oh,
game.
I got you. I would
And
go
if
with
you
that.
and if everything and Mullen truly believes that, and I just think his staff doesn't necessarily know. Like they're like, all right, that's what you say. That's what we're going for. That's the goal every year. But we'll see. I think it's a wait and see type
I don't
atmosphere.
know
It's a wait
where.
and
I
see
mean,
type.
I don't. Off the top of my head, when you look at the injuries that Georgia has right now, I don't know where they're better than Florida. The depth, yes. Like if Florida sustained the type of injuries that Georgia sustained, Florida would be terrible. But right now, as the teams play out, I don't think Georgia's any better than Florida is with what they both currently have. Who knows what Alabama is? I mean, we think we know, but that largely depends on Bryce. I mean, but I'll go back to, like I said, when they're going to play Miami, the thing that sucks about Alabama, they always have the option to go 21 personnel, run the ball down your freaking throat 45 times for 450 yards, and there's nothing you can do
Or
about it.
spread it out. Yep.
Yeah.
So they're not working. They're not getting open, and they're just gonna say, "Okay, all right, let's do this the
Heck, they're
old-fashioned way." Oh, I thought Denny got a call. You don't know if Denny's getting a call if he didn't pay his light bill. But yeah, I got a call too. That's why earlier. That's why I had to put my phone in airplane mode. But it's over here
no, it's this.
buzzing.
It's the timer. It's the light timer. I'm not
Yeah,
moving enough.
yeah. We'll get all of this squared away. Hopefully by next week, guys, we'll be doing a. We're gonna do one live show and probably 2 recorded shows that will come out later in the evening. And
And
so
that live show
but we'll
may
still
be
do 3
earlier
days
in
a
the
week.
day, by the way.
Yeah, it's all gonna be in the day. So we're gonna have Rain Man put up a poll, even though it really doesn't matter. Me and Diddy kind of determine how it goes, but we'll still let you guys pretend to be able to have a say in it. And but again, you got to get on the YouTube channel. You got to once we put out the information to subscribe. You got to subscribe if you want to continue to be in the live comments on the recorded shows, because we'll do it a version of it live, but only live to our subscribers and people on our channel. So um,
Hey, I have a
we'll
8
we'll go
o'clock.
with that. Sure, let's go.
WEEI in Boston. It's a
Okay.
radio
They
station.
they,
It's a big
they
radio station.
they got on you.
So I do some things with WEEI. Remember Tyler Devitt?
Yeah.
So Tyler's a big time producer for a big time show out there, and they do crazy numbers. Crazy numbers. Um, 2 nights ago, I'm sitting on my couch and I get a text from somebody saying, "Hey, did you hear Mac Jones on WEEI today?" And I was like, "No, I don't listen to WEEI." To make a long story short, I had done um, a series of interviews with them leading up to the draft and then after the draft, after they picked Mac. And in one of those interviews, somebody asked me if Mac is sneaky athletic. And I said, no, he's not sneaky athletic. Like, that's not his game. Like, his game is he's going to take you apart mentally, right? But he's not he's not athletic. So they get Mac on Monday, and here's what they tell him. Word for word. Hey, Mac, your quarterback trainer, Denny Thompson, said you're not athletic. That's literally all they tell him. And you could, like, I went back and I listened, and you could almost hear him go, what? Like, I texted Tyler, and I'm like, dude, that's just, like, that's Bush League right there, bro. That's Bush League. Like, first off, I want to set the record straight. Mac has trained with me, and I've said this a million times. I'm not Mac's primary guy. Like, I have worked with Mac. Mac goes to a guy in Alabama a lot more than he comes to me. Secondly, like, if you're going to throw my name out there like that to a guy that you have me on talking about, and I have talked about his energy, and I've talked about how smart he is, and I've talked about the comparables to Tom Brady, and I've talked about all this kind of stuff, then don't freaking turn over my quote and go, your quarterback coach said that you're unathletic and slow, and then ask him to expand on that. Like, that's
Right, no
complete and utter
context.
BS, and that's why people freaking hate the media. And the thing about it is, like, this show, they try to be funny. Like, every time I come on, they play this hick music because it's Jacksonville, and they try to be funny, and they're not funny. And so they tried to be funny with this, and it just bombed. And what they don't even realize is, like, okay, Mac and I are cool. Like, I texted Mac, I was like, he's like, dude, I don't even care. Like, that's fine. What's not cool is when you tweet it out and it gets retweeted and all that kind of stuff. And I've got all these other clientele who look at it and go, well, all right, I'm training with this guy. Is he talking shit about me too? Like, and they don't think about that. You know what I mean? So it's like, y'all can kiss my ass, WEI. I won't be back on there if that's how y'all do business.
Yeah, one of the things about Northern people, and I think I talked about this when I did some interviews with Bobby. I did a show that's on Mad Dog Sports Radio, and then I saw the New York Post, believe it was the New York Post, put folksy Coach Bowden, and they said something folksy, and I'm like, dude, like, what the hell do y'all think the South is about, man? I live in Jacksonville, Florida. It's called Jack and Kill. We do a spoof on freaking Mad Dads every day. So, like, what do you think? Like, we just ride horses and smile at each other all day?
Yep.
I said, nah. I said we don't. We just know we live in paradise. We don't go over there and worry about what it's like in Boston when it's going to be snowing tomorrow. It's going to be
Mm-hmm.
cold in September. It's going to be 90 degrees here. We can go to the beach. Like, you think it's just all Hicksville, but you vacation in our state. Nobody's like I've gone to Boston three times in my entire life. And all three times I was ready to come back home. So, like, let's just be real. And the fact that nobody understands what y'all say. Y'all can say we talk slow. y'all talk and pronounce your vowels entirely too hard. So let's just be completely open and honest with it. And on top of y'all saying Boston media saying that we're ass backwards in the South, what city is consistently voted the most racist sports city?
Yep.
Beantown, Boston. Your idols don't want to come back. You got won you 10 championships, or is it 10 championships that my man won? Anyways, he won a ton of them, and he's like, "Yo, I don't want no parts of that. That city's stupid. It's racist." But I mean, but for them to do that, that just shows me that it's more about the stick than it is about what it is that they actually do. But
No doubt.
shock jock radio, shock jock radio when it's shock without having the force is dope.
Yep.
Shock jock radio when you're trying too hard is sophomorish, and the reality is 90% of the people in media, and this is no knock on my guy, because again, I actually like what he did. I agree with 90% of his tweet. The problem with media is 90% look like Pete Prisco or look like Hack, and you can't fight. So you speak all these very hard points, and you come with passion, and sometimes you go over the top for the shock value. And then the reality is if you saw those guys, if you were in Boston for God knows whatever reason, I don't know, you with TB12. So well, sometimes I don't know what the hell you do. You got the collective, you got TB12, you got Elite 11, you got the commission, the Illuminati, all these different quarterback groups that you're with. But when you're in Boston and you run up on them, they're gonna be like, "Oh, it was all jokes and smiles and Hallmark
Well,
cards,"
one of them's
until
not.
it messes up your
One of
money.
them. One of them's a dude now. One of them is that Christian Foria cat that used to play for the Patriots.
Christian who?
Is it Foria?
Oh, okay, I got an idea who that is.
Yeah.
Nah,
But
that's
anyway,
not everybody, but that's why I said 90%. It's a couple of us that. Well, I mean, right now, again, you got 2 more weeks. I'm running now, so it may be less than that. I got 2 more weeks to talk to me cross before I feel
no,
like
I
I'm
mean, it
back.
ain't even for me. It's not even that. It's like if they would have even said to Mac, we had Denny on before the draft, and he said you'd be a perfect fit here, yada yada yada. And we asked him, like, are you sneaky athletic? And he said no. That's a true statement. Like, but to just say, Denny said you're unathletic, like that's two different things. You know what I mean? Like that's completely like made up in your head, and you're taking, and yes, you know what, you can say, well, that's what you said. Okay, all right, whatever. Okay, it is. Just now I know where we stand. And by the way, well played, Steve. One of my quarterback's dads just texted me. It's like, hey, I heard you're talking crap about my kid. So at least we know somebody's watching this. But anyway, I had to get that hate o'clock out. We haven't had a good hate o'clock in a little while.
All right, I'm gonna piggyback on that because I know I got a couple. I just saw somebody. Here's my hate o'clock. I appreciate the love and the well wishes. I'll say I'm 75% to how I feel, and I'm sure that this last 25% is going to take a little bit of time for me to be able to finally get to that. And I do appreciate the concerns. I'm not posting any of this stuff for people to come and tell me to slow down. I got 3 doctors that I consult with, and this is for family too. I don't care who you are. Ain't none of you. I got 3 doctors that I trust right now that I consult with everything that I do. They told me to run, told me to walk. I walked. Now today, I ran the last 100 yards. I was feeling good about myself. I wanted to test it. If I felt like I couldn't, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to stop. And guess where that last 100 was? It's literally right in front of my house. So like I knew if I fall and pass out, I could crawl to where I need to get, or I can call somebody to be like, hey, I'm outside. I fell. Please come get me, or bring an inhaler, bring something. If you have to understand what my mentality is, guys. I am a guy who's always pushed the limit. I'm a guy who if I listen to what people told me to do, to calm down, I wouldn't have been able to play at Florida State or play in the NFL. I wouldn't have a radio show. We wouldn't have, if we listened to it's well meaning, but if we listened to Chad Scott, we would have We listened to him later on once he got it. But if we would have listened to him in the beginning, our show wouldn't have lasted at 10:10. Or it wouldn't be what you guys, even though you're complaining about the iPhone, you're complaining about the buzzing, we're gonna get that fixed. But you were complaining for the weeks that we didn't have anything. So the fact that you're complaining, that lets us know that at least you're here. We appreciate it. And each step we're gonna get better. But I don't need that. What I need you to do is click like, say glad that you're here with us, and it's about inspiring other people. You keep telling me like, but the one thing I will say that I learned in all this is I had no clue how fast I moved before. Because people are telling me to slow down, and I am moving slow.
I
I
was gonna say,
literally
man, you better be careful because now they're gonna reverse that energy on you, and the comments you get are gonna be, "Hey, speed up, bro.
right, which is
Like we gotta
cool. Like
get to
I'm
this
not going to
200
speed
miles."
up. I'm not going to speed up. Like, but you can see the progress because it went from like 22 minutes to 18, 17, and today was 50. That 55 was a little. But let me tell you about how my run was though. So the only way I can describe it is like the first day I walked, I couldn't I had to like throw my legs forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my run was similar. So the only way that I can describe my run is like when the kids were throwing rocks at Forrest Gump and Jenny was, and in my head, I had somebody screaming, "Run, Forrest, run!" And so I'm sitting here and I'm using my upper body to throw my legs forward, and my legs are just swinging. And then all of a sudden, it was like the last 10 steps. I actually had like an athletic gait, but it was
The
so
last what?
slow. So the last 10 steps, it looked like an athlete, but it was so slow.
You said
And
you
that
ran
was in my
100
head.
yards.
Yeah, I ran 100 yards.
How many steps do you think that 100 yards took
Right, man. I don't know, bro. Like all I know is okay. So it's 19 steps to run a 40, right? Traditionally, that's what
you?
they
Right.
want to say. If I had to run a 40, I probably ran it in like 60.
In
like
what?
it's 60 steps. Like it took a lot, man. It was a lot. But those last 10 steps, I was covering ground. I was bounding, but man, I was slow, bro. I
That's
was slow.
awesome, though, man. That's
But,
awesome.
but yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. So just to put a bow on this, I know the iPhones suck. I know all that. We have been making the investments. Like we are getting there. We chose to just put stuff out instead of waiting until everything was perfect. So we don't like this any more than y'all do. We can promise you that. But it's better than not putting anything out at all. So the goal is by next week to have at least better audio quality. Um, that already can happen. So we are just waiting on the video component. If it's not here next week, we'll figure something out to at least get the audio better. But in the meantime, we really do need you guys to just tell other people about us. Like that's the biggest way that you can help us is old school. Hey, I got these guys I listen to. Go subscribe to their YouTube channel. Go follow them on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, all that kind of stuff. Like you guys don't know how much we would appreciate that. And just one last time, like if you own a business, I want to let me explain this. We're not really that interested in just doing like a 30-second, hey, go see Bob at State Farm. Like that's really we want to make it part of the show,
Right.
or like a whole separate piece of content. So if you want to get creative and you want to drive your brand, then hit us up. Like that's what we're after right there. Now we need to semi like your brand. We don't have to love it, but you know, we need to rock with it a little bit. But
Yeah,
if you
I'm
want
no
to get
longer.
creative,
If you have vodka, if you have a vodka company, I'll sell it
we're
to you.
all in.
I'm not. I'm grown.
Yes.
I'm grown now.
Yes. Yes. James turned down a good vodka deal for us one time that was a little childish of him, but that's okay. He's matured. But yeah, just hit us up. We would love to hear your thoughts. We're not going to do anything goofy or silly or anything like that, but we want to put out dope content for our partners. And so if that's something that you think you would benefit from and you've got it, in your budget to expand a little bit, then let's go. Let's rock. and that's the best way that you can help us, is by telling people and telling business owners. And as always, man, we appreciate you guys. We're not going to be back on Friday, right?
No, this would be and we're not doing it, man. Fuck the Jags. We're not doing no instant reaction show Friday.
No, I'm not. No.
We'll be back on Monday. We're gonna get it to where we get that 3 day rotation, but I know somebody just asked what is we're
Well, it'll
gonna
be
do. It's
3
gonna be
days. It'll be 3 days plus other content too, guys.
yeah. So we're gonna have like right now we weave inside drills in. The 36 degrees will be weaved in. Denny's got a couple things that he's gonna be doing. We've got some other people, and then we're really encouraging everybody YouTube and and then whenever we get this thing worked out with the app is really the two best ways because once January hits, we're really pushing everything to the YouTube channel. And the content that we're going to give you is content that only we can give you. So it's going to be behind the scenes looks at your favorite universities. Stuff like inside drills. We'll have oh yeah, so I have a name, image, and likeness company. Amari Gainer is one of our clients. We just signed him to Fifth Quarter Media, which is means that the Den Media Group is going to be able to participate in that. So you'll see some stuff with Amari Gainer. He'll be on the Inside Drills on Monday. A couple recruits will have them. So again, you really want to be in that YouTube. You really want to be connected. And plus, if we get to 1,000 followers, a lot of people keep asking, "How do I help? How do I help? How do I help?" 1,000 followers, let YouTube algorithm do it on its own. So, but again, we just gonna talk about this. And yes, all of the stuff is dope. Listen to us the best way you can. All we ask is that just go subscribe to Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube. Listen to us however you want to, but eventually, we're kind of gonna move to where everything's gonna be heavily edited and it's gonna be on our YouTube channel after it's on the subscription service. So subscription service will get it first. YouTube channel will get it like a day or two late, but it's all gonna be good content. So just continue to listen
Yep.
and we'll keep pushing it. But if you're a business owner, like Denny said, hit us up in the DMs. It's gonna be unique, it's gonna be creative. And the one thing we'll say, if you're looking for numbers, I can't tell you what our numbers are like radio can. But what I can tell you is that the beautiful thing about everybody listening here, and this is why the humidor stuck around so long, is that you got, and then the beautiful thing about Green Acres, which we should got to make sure we get over there tomorrow. You guys actually do go out and support, and we appreciate
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Continue to support, and that's all we can ask for. So, anything else?
Nah, man, we're good. I'm gonna get out of here.
All right, cool. We'll see you guys. Well, we'll see you guys next week. Continue to subscribe to IG, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube for all the other things that are coming up. But again, our next show will be on Monday night. So we'll see you guys then.
All right.